For this tutorial, we are using one of the example projects. Within that, we will use the airport's taxonomy. We start by clicking on that. Next, we click on Heathrow to view the airport details. Note that our concept has a class that has been assigned. This has come from our ontology. We'll see how to set up classes in the Template Manager shortly. Also, note that the display also includes what are called global properties. Global properties, when configured, will appear on every concept in the project. Templates will be displayed below any global properties. Templates can contain different property types. Here we have an example of a data type property, IATA code. Another name for a property of this type is attribute. Relationships are technically called object properties. You can include these in templates too. We will now explain how these properties have been set up. We click on the Template Manager icon in the sidebar on the left-hand side of the screen. In our instance, we already have the Template Manager set up. When that is the case, the ontology project titles will be displayed at the top of the Template Manager. You can make use of multiple ontology projects if you need to. To add additional projects, click on the Add Project button on the right-hand side of the screen. The first panel on display lists all of the classes chosen from any ontologies in the project. You can add classes by clicking on the Add icon in the top right of the panel. You only need to list classes that you intend to use in your taxonomies. Classes listed here will be available to add to concepts. Our screenshot earlier showed the airport class. The second panel lists any global properties that we want to use. You can add more by clicking on the Add icon in the panel. Note that if you have a property listed as both a global property and a template that gets used by a taxonomy, the global property will take precedence. Next, we scroll down to the Templates area. We already have 5 templates created. Each template is listed in a card at the top of the Templates panel. You can click on a card to jump to that template. If you want to hide the template, you can click on the eye icon in the card. You can add templates by clicking on the Add icon in the top right of the panel. You will need to give each template a name. You can always edit a template name. The Target Classes panel lists the classes for which the template will be displayed. Note that templates are aware of subclass hierarchies and will therefore display on any concept that has a subclass of a target class. You can specify multiple targets. These can include the checkboxes in the panel. If SCOS XL is enabled, a labels option will also be available. The next panel lists all of the properties that are part of the template. The properties are displayed in a table-like layout. Certain columns are available for all properties. These are Name Override, Description, Minimum Count, and Maximum Count. Name Override allows you to override the name of the property. This can sometimes be useful if the ontology property doesn't have a suitable label. Description allows you to provide information for editors. This information will be displayed in the Property panel on a concept. You can see the description displayed on the concept we showed earlier. The Minimum Count field allows you to state the minimum number of values the property should have. The Maximum Count field allows you to state the maximum number of values the property should have. Note that if a property is defined as a functional property, this will be interpreted as having a maximum cardinality of 1. Other fields are dependent upon the property type. For data type properties that are strings, you can define the maximum length the string should have. You can also define a regular expression that the text must match against. To test out your regular expression, use the field underneath. If a property is a relationship, then you can choose to constrain where the values must come from. In this case, we have constrained the values to come from another taxonomy in the project. It is possible to configure certain property types to display things other than just plain text. In this example, the Greece concept in the country's taxonomy is displaying URLs as images. To configure this, in the Template Manager, there is a column called Treat Content As. If the property is suitable, you will see a drop-down from which you can select a value. These values include things like markdown text and HTML. Following that, we navigate back to our taxonomy. Then we click on the Show Management panel icon. From here, scroll down to the Templates to Display panel. Here, you must select all of the templates that you want to be used for a taxonomy. Then, close the Management panel. A point to note is that even if a template is listed for a taxonomy, any property with a domain defined will only display if the domain is compatible with the classes on the concept. Another point to note is that if multiple templates are used, then they are all merged into a single set of properties for display. If there are any conflicts between the constraints in this scenario, warnings will be displayed on concept. If a concept violates the constraints defined by a template, you will see messages on that concept. We can check the taxonomy as a whole in the Management panel. Let's click on the Show Management panel icon once again. Next, click the Validation tab. If there are constraint violations, they will be listed in the Failures report. That's it for this tutorial.